Hello. Tonight, I'm doing my nails again. I will be using Luminary System in the color Presence. It is a milky white. And you can see it here. And I'll be finishing off the other hand, because I didn't like the art I did. Isn't that always how it goes? Luminary Systems is my preferred builder in a bottle brand. I like the viscosity of it. It is easy to use, and you can get a little jar of it to work with, as well as a refill bottle, which I love things that come in jars. Their brush is nice. It doesn't look like much, but it's nice and flat, and it spreads really nicely. I do prefer slightly rounded brushes, which this one is not, but I'll give it a pass because it works really well. It goes on nice and thin. These ones are slightly sheer. That's how they are supposed to be. They do have a lot of pinks, ranging from corals to almost a full red. I only have a few colors so far, but I really like them. I haven't found a builder in a bottle that I like more than this one. As per usual, I'm not going to prep my nails because I just took nails off, and we don't want to overfile because they're already overfiled because I had to learn to use an e-file. I'll just push back my cuticles, which is always how you start your application, whatever you're doing. And then my trusty alcohol to dehydrate. I use the same application method, whatever builder in a bottle I'm using. I have used Jimmy Gel from Light Elegance. I have used the gel bottles BIAB, which is not bad, but I have heard there is some controversy surrounding the gel bottle ink. I don't know. It's hard to find any information on that one. But I do like that one. It is a little thicker though, so it's a little harder to work with if you're unfamiliar with builders in a bottle. As usual, I'm having trouble getting in the frame because that is how I am. The first layer goes on very, very, very thin. And you're gonna wiggle it right up to your cuticle. And take it around the line. You want to make sure that you're really scrubbing this first layer into your nail so it grabs a hold, but you want it to be very, very thin. Luminary does self-level really nicely, even when you're putting it on this thin. Just let your brush spread out, scrub it on up into the cuticle line. Down your sidewalls as close as you can get it without touching skin. As always with gel, once you touch skin, it's a mess. So if you can avoid it, do your best. But take your time. It's not going anywhere. It's not going to dry on you. It is not going to become sticky. You can always wipe it off and start over. Make sure you clean up any little errant bits and pieces before you cure. And don't leave any bottles or jars open in the line of light. For coat number 2, we are going to open our little jar. You don't have to use the little jar, but if you are going to use it, make sure you stir it. It does separate. Again, we're going to start with a very thin coat. That is your slip layer. The slip layer tells the rest of the gel where it needs to go or where it is allowed to go. You want to make sure you're very tidy with it, because where your slip layer goes, the rest will follow. So if you're sloppy and you're getting it everywhere, you're just going to have a mess on your hands. It is better to wipe it off and start over if you need to. So, have your slip layer. Do not cure your slip layer. You need it to be wet. Yeah. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Wiggle, 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 wiggle. Now, the next step, you're going to get a little dollop. You don't need much. A little dollop. Because you can always pick up a little more. Start a little ways away from your cuticle and just pat, 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 pat. And with gel, you kind of finesse and you use the little edge of your brush just to like walk it into place. And as I said, Luminary is real good about self-leveling, so it will just melt into place. If you need a little more, you can get a little more. This one You don't have to worry a lot about bubbles. I have not had bubbles, a lot of trouble with bubbles. You just use your brush to fill in any areas that might need a little more. And you're just using the very, very edge of your brush to touch and drag. You're using just the edge of your brush to move it around. Barely, barely touching it. One time, barely touch it to move it. Now, one of the things that was the hardest part for me to learn when I first started dealing with these kind of gels. Turn it over, let gravity do its work. And you get a nice little shape there. Can you see it? And you can see there's a little bit of a shadow there where it needs a little more gel. So move it into place. Let itself level out. And when I'm happy with it, cover everything. The issue I ran into with gel is that I used too much, and I would put it on way too thick, and then I would have to file it down, and I would never get that beautiful, perfect application I was looking for. Because I was applying it like you do polygel or acrylic, where it's as attractive, instead of sculpting it with the very nature of the product. And part of the beauty of gel is that graceful flow you get when you apply it just right. These gels. Plus, it's a whole lot faster when you don't have to do a ton of filing. I can do a set like this, no time. Because there's virtually no filing. I do the edges, little prep work. Apply the gel, top coat, plenty of time for art. Because my application is art. You turn it over, let a little gravity work for you. That brings the gel to the apex. You can use your brush on the underside to guide everything into place. It's a little harder to film. And the last step of any manicure is your top coat. I have no strong feelings either way about the Luminary Empower top coat. I generally prefer a hard gel top coat only because I work with acetone all the time. And this one is not hard gel. Look, fuzzies. Always fuzzies. Come off. I'll just clean it off. Because there are always fuzzies. Try that again. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Give it a chance to self-load a lot out. Make sure there's no pitting. Clean up around your edges. And there I am. Perfect, flawless, structured manicure. Ready for some art. Bye.